Hello everyone, and welcome to Wellspring Wednesday Chapel on this, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. 50 years ago, 20 million Americans went to the streets asking for change, asking that organizations be established, that the government step in and address the environmental crisis 50 years ago. And now, friends, we see the work that went on for years of establishing the capacity to turn around the degradation that we have caused being dismantled by a government that should be ashamed of itself. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for Wellspring Wednesday Chapel. So let's begin by lighting our chalice and repeating the words, "We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, the light of truth, and the warmth of love." And will you sing with me? Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Each time we gather, we invite you to consider those moments in your lives, the people in your lives that have brought you joy, and those moments in your lives and those situations which have brought you sorrows. I will begin, and then I will stand and place stones on both sides of the scale as you speak the names or describe the situations that have brought you joy or sorrow in this past week. A joy that I've experienced this last week, has been that Jan and I had the opportunity to meet on Zoom with all of the kids who are coming of age, who are wrestling with those hard questions about God and community and life and death that we wrestle with our whole lives long. And it was such a joy to experience their depth and their interest and their willingness to try to find their own answers to questions that matter most. And my sorrow is for the death of a dear colleague, Thomas Michelson, who died an old man, but he died of COVID-19 and he died by himself. And he was a wonderful, wonderful teacher and a friend. He served at a great church called First Parish in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I will miss him. He also wrote a hymn, and 2 verses from that hymn will be part of the service a little later. Thomas Miles. And now it's your turn. And I'm going to just imagine that I hear your voices, because I hear them all the time. A joy, a sorrow, and for the joys and sorrows that remain within the silent sanctuary of our hearts. We are grateful. We're grateful to be part of a community of children and grown-ups who care deeply about each other and who will, together, thrive through this difficult time. May it be so. Tom Michelson wrote this wonderful hymn, and I'm going to sing the first verse and the last verse. It seems a totally appropriate gift to offer you as part of this chapel on Earth Day. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my vision of ministry clear, brighten my pathway with radiance here, mingle my calling with all who will share, work for a planet transformed by our care. I want to tell you a story about two young boys who were chosen from all of their friends by the monks to become monks in a place far away. And they went to the school in the monastery, and they lived a very, very disciplined life. And they had to obey the teacher. The teacher was himself a monk, and he had been brought up in much the same way, chosen from among the children of a village, and then sent to school to learn the disciplines and practices that monks are in the world to engage. They didn't like it much. Though they got to play around and have a good time a lot of the time, much of the time they had to sit quietly and breathe and chant and do what the teacher said to do. And over 2 or 3 years, they began to really resent the teacher, and they decided they were going to fool him in front of their friends. They were going to make a fool out of their teacher. Some of you may have wanted to do that at some point in your life. And they hatched a plan. And they went out into the woods, and they captured a young bird. And one said to the other, he said, I'm going to hold the bird in my hands, and I will approach the teacher, and you can come with me, and when we're standing there, you can ask the teacher, Teacher, you who are so wise and know so much, is the bird alive or dead? And if he says, alive, I will squeeze my hands and the bird will die, and we will prove him wrong. And if he says the bird is dead, I will open my hands and the bird will fly away and live a long time. So the plan was hatched. And they went to the woods and they found a bird and they stood before their teacher. And the one who wasn't holding the bird said to the teacher, Teacher, is the bird alive or is it dead? And the teacher looked at them and smiled in a gentle way that teachers sometimes do, and he said, the bird is in your hands. I hope you understand. I hope you understand that the notion of life itself being in your hands, the world itself being in your hands, is the message of Earth Day. Together, we can be stewards of the world. Stewards means the people who care enough to be thoughtful and careful and take good care of the beauty and the wonder and the many possibilities, the nourishment, the incredible richness of the world itself. And so, my friends, I just want to remind you, it's in your hands. And will you sing with me the chalice song we often sing at chapel? It's a blessing you were born, and it matters what we do. What we know about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty we love be what we do, and you don't have to do it alone. Thank you for coming to Wellspring Wednesday Chapel. I hope that you will choose to tune in later this evening for a conversation about Earth Day sponsored by our Sustainable Living team. Look to the email that you received from the congregation earlier in the day and go ahead and spend some time learning about Earth Day now that every day needs to be Earth Day. And the time has come for us to extinguish the chalice with these words. Though we extinguish the chalice here, we know the light of truth and the warmth of love go with us in our hearts. Thanks for watching. Keep the flame alive.